Welcome in live chat for this week's WGC Dell Technologies match play. Let's go. What do you want to do? What do you want to talk about? Should we do optimal build? Should we use the optimizer? Should we do a deep dive on player? Should we just stare at the bracket for the next hour or so? I don't really care. This time is yours. A couple of quick housekeeping items as everybody's getting in here. If you want to be in the Rick Run Good bracket challenge, there is a link in the description. You can enter there. I take a lot of pride in us having the largest group on the PGA Tour's website because I like to show them that, hey, like we're a serious group of people. We're a serious community. We can rock this out. As of right now, we almost have 1,700 people in our group. Let's double it, right? Like I want to blow this out of the water, be by far the biggest, and kind of put our stamp of approval on this bracket challenge in what might be the last year for it. So the links in the description and the password that you need, because it is a private group, technically, is Tiger, Tiger, all lowercases. So you can get involved with that. If you went back and watched the video that I put out on Monday, you can have access to this bracket here that's in Google Sheets, but you can copy this and put it into into your own what am I thinking? Like your own Google Drive, like you can make a copy of this and have your own copy of it. And then here are the prizes for our group. First place is going to get a Rick Run Good subscription for a year subscription, ESPN Plus. I'll send you a swag box with a bunch of gear. Second, we'll also get a swag box and get a Rick Run Good 6-month subscription. Third through 10th, we'll get monthly Rick Run Good subscriptions. And then the winner will get, whatever the winner's seed is, will get a 6-month Rick Run Good subscription. So for example, if Christian Bezadenhout wins, he's the 60th seed. Whatever bracket's in 60th place will get that 6-month subscription. Okay. That's kind of the housekeeping items. We'll start getting into some of these questions here and we'll see where we go. Best one and done strategy for match play is it's more random. Try to get someone out of the group stage. Yeah. So obviously there are a lot of factors in terms of what your positioning is, how big your one and done is. But it's really tough because this is rickrungood.com, by the way, my website. It's really tough for it's really tough to line up the fact that this is an elevated event with a lot of money and also that it's the most volatile and you probably don't want to risk like using John Rahm and him not getting out of his group, for example. So what I've opted to do is kind of go for the second tier of golfer. So I think Cam Young is kind of the easy one. Cam Young, Tyrrell Hatton are like your chalky, easy ones. Are you going to use Cam Young at an elevated event outside of this? Probably not. Are you going to use Tyrrell Hatton? Probably not. I think those are two really solid options. I think if you want to be a little bit more different, Sungjae Im and Tommy Fleetwood are really good. If you need to go further than that, Sahith is pretty interesting. I don't think you need to be using your high-end guys here. And I don't think you necessarily should be using your high-end guys here. Can you do Core Cascade for this tournament? Still have all the optimal lineups? I guess, but it would really depend on what your core was. Kind of looking through this a little bit. Like if your core was, I don't even know if these are going to add up. Like Scotty and then Shane Lowry, Russell Henley, Billy Horschel. And then if you cascaded when you swapped out Billy Horschel, for example, you'd have to swap him out with somebody else from these two groups up here. So yes, I think you could do it. I don't think you should do it, but I think it is, yes, still possible. Hey Mino, what does Rick do to keep his teeth so white? Nothing, man. I actually think they need. I think they need to be whitened, quite frankly. Hey Rick, one and done question: would you use Cam Young here or save him for the U.S. Open? Yeah, so we kind of already covered that. I think I'll probably end up using a combination of, depending on my position, Cam Young, Terrell Hatton, Sahith, Tommy Fleetwood, Sung J M. You know, the idea around Armina texted me and said, or slacked me and said, he doesn't smoke or drink wine. So those were her reasons for the white teeth, apparently. So Cam Young's a really tough out in this, right? You know, you've got a guy who hits a long ball. He's fourth in birdies over the last 50 rounds. I mean, he just kind of fills it up in a way that few other guys can. And then you get the fact that, he's got Paul Tesori on the bag this week. I think that's really interesting. And I think it kind of helps them out a little bit more. And it's just, he's going to be a really, really tough out. And he's got literally the easiest group. I put this in my newsletter on yesterday, which was Monday, where I removed the top seed from each group just to see like what the best and the worst draws were. Cam Young got by far the best draw, like not even close, by far the best draw. Max Homa got a really good draw as well. Those two are way better than everybody else. But yeah, I mean, Cam Young has a really good shot to get out of this thing. And yes, everybody does get a paycheck. I don't know what the lowest payout is, probably like 50K, 60K, 70K, something like that. Hey, Rick, love seeing the daily content and recaps once again. Opinions on the match play are very torn. Do you see the event coming back to the schedule knowing it's not slated to return? So this is kind of like a soapbox issue for me. So I don't think it's coming back. So I think the players enjoy it. I think the fans enjoy it. I think, unfortunately, that we are in an era where the networks and the sponsors matter more. And unfortunately, when this gets to the Final Four and the championship, it's really tough to televise. And sponsors are not guaranteed John Rahm versus Scotty Scheffler. It might be Alex Noren versus Andrew Putnam. And I think that's really hard to sell. And I think that at this point, the ability to sell it has gotten more important than what we could actually be doing, unfortunately. So I hope that I am wrong. I love this event. I think it's amazing. I think they should expand it, but I'm not optimistic about that. Thoughts on top four finish parlays? Yeah. So this, I imagine, Cody, what you're talking about is like picking golfers from four different quadrants and hoping that they get to the Final Four. Listen, I mean, parlays in general are pretty bad for you and pretty good business for the sports books, but I think that's fun, right? And I think that gives you something to sweat. So if you just picked, hey, like I got Scotty Scheffler here, and then I've got Homa, and then I've got Lucas Herbert, and I've got Cam Young, or whatever it ends up being, like, cool, but they are obviously like losing money. Hey, Rick, what's your strategy for single entry? I prefer single entry because I don't want to make a million teams. So I think you got to be really embracing of the volatility here. So here are the projected ownerships from RickRunGood.com. Mike Cavalunas does these. This is the cheat sheet. And what you'll notice is there are entire groups that like a lot of people just straight up avoided, right? And getting access to those groups, because someone is going to come out of those groups. So let's see. Where is it? Group 10 doesn't have any golfer over 11% owned. That's Tony Finau's group. Tony Finau's the highest projected owned, 11%. Group 11, the Matt Fitzpatrick group, like Matt Fitzpatrick's 12%. Minwoo Lee is 15%. Sahith is 8%. Sahith should not be 8%. The group 13, Sam Burns, like just don't go, just pick somebody else except Sam Burns outside of group 13. Group 15, believe it or not, I trust Mike a lot, like with my life, but Cam Young at 9% feels quite low to me. And then group 16, there's really not a lot of concentrated ownership there either. So you can just kind of go through these and play the groups that others are not. The Rory group's pretty low too. I'd have to aggregate all these and see, but that feels pretty low to me. Okay, I've answered a couple of these one-and-done questions, which is fine. I'm leading my 20-person one and done. I have to pick a person for match play and Corrales. I'm not going to give you top 3 plays for each. I think we can kind of figure that out. Just play Wyndham Clark on the other side. And there is a, like if you go to the power rankings, I do have the Punta Cana stuff in here. So you can go to the power rankings, last however many rounds that you want, use strokes gained. Wyndham Clark's by far the best player in the field. He's nearly twice as better as Nikolai Højgaard, who's number 2. If you're not going to play Wyndham Clark, play Dylan Wu. If you're not going to play Dylan Wu, Thomas Dietrich. So I guess I did give you the top 3, even though I said I wasn't going to. How will Spieth decide to cost me my bet and break my heart this week? Likely by missing a 3-footer. No, I mean, listen, it's really hard to win one of these. And I love what Spieth has been up to. Obviously, I love that we're getting him gearing up for the Masters. I love the ball striking metrics. He's still capable, obviously, of missing a 3-foot 8-inch putt on the 72nd hole. But when you get engaged Jordan Spieth in the moment of match play, he is very, very difficult to beat. All right. There's a couple of good questions here and things that I think we have to cover. So it says, should leverage for the field only be considered with their likelihood to reach the Elite 8? Okay, so let's talk leverage. So for those of you who watched the March Madness video that I put out, know that that tournament is all about leverage, right? It's all about picking the teams that are not being selected as much as they should be relative to their betting odds or relative to their projections of winning, whatever. We can, in theory, do the same thing here, which I've done, right? You guys knew I was going to say that, right? So here's the bracket. And this is, again, you have access to all of this. This is the link in the description. There's another tab called leverage. And it's not nearly as clean as March Madness, because March Madness says, hey, here's how often they were picked to advance out of the round of 32, out of the Sweet 16, out of the Elite 8. We don't have that. So what I did is I took Mike Cavalunis's projected ownership numbers. So it's just one projected ownership. We don't have this per round, per level or anything like that. But I ran it against the betting odds to win each group. There was not betting odds to get to the Elite 8. So I did it to get to the Final Four, to get to the championship, and to win the championship. So I think there's 2 ways to look at this. I think the most important ones are probably winning the championship and then getting out of your group. Because those are going to be a little bit easier to kind of figure out what people did with projected ownership. So what we want is a high leverage number or a high leverage plus number. So for example, Scotty Scheffler is projected to be owned for 21% of lineups, and he is projected to win his group 52% of the time. That gives us 31% of leverage. But when you compare that number to what his actual win number is, it's about 0.59 of leverage plus. So long story short, we want higher leverage. So for example, Cam Davis getting out of the group is one of the best leverage spots that we have. Don't shoot the messenger, just telling you. So Cam Davis is going to win his group 19% of the time. He is only being selected 2.2% of the time. It's 0.88 of leverage. And you'll see there are kind of a lot of guys that are in that 20-ish% to win their group, but they're not being selected as such. When you start getting to the more expensive golfers, Jordan Spieth is one of the best leverage options that we have. So Evan, apologies, but we're probably going to have to invest more in Jordan Spieth. So he wins his group 36% of the time. It's a lot. He's only being selected 7% of the time. He's in a group with Shane Lowry. He's in a group with Taylor Montgomery. He's in a group with Mackenzie Hughes. He wins that most frequently. So he gets a lot of leverage here. The worst place out of that first group that you could make are guys that are being selected way more frequently than they are likely to win. So unfortunately, like, I'm a big Victor Perez fan. Victor Perez only wins his group 19% of the time, and he is being selected 14% of the time. So that is not a lot of leverage. It's the lowest amount of leverage, and it's a horrible leverage plus number. Taylor Montgomery, same thing. Minwoo Lee, same thing. KH Lee, unfortunately, a guy that I really like, and it's why he's just too popular. Max Homa and Terrell Hatton fall into this category. So when you're making lineups, in theory, you should probably be avoiding Max Homa. You should probably be avoiding Terrell Hatton. You should probably be investing in Jordan Spieth and Shane Lowry and some of these other guys. So I'll take you through this salary by salary. So Spieth has a really good one. Jason Day has a really good leverage number, only being selected 8% of the time, wins his group 34% of the time. Lowry, Fitzpatrick, Hideki, Billy Horschel, pretty good. Adam Scott, pretty good. These are the guys that you should be selecting. John Rahm, Patrick Cantlay, they're okay. They're fair. Scotty Scheffler skews on like the wrong side of things a little bit. And unfortunately, Max Homa, Victor Hovland, Terrell Hatton, they don't show up on the good side. So that's to win the group. If we do the same thing for to win the entire thing, like what is the likelihood that a golfer is going to win the entire tournament, and how are they being selected, and what our leverage looks like? Well, because our projected ownership doesn't change, the calculation doesn't, but the numbers are a lot different. So you still want the higher the number. Now these are negatives, but that's okay. So the best plays though are Jordan Spieth again. So Spieth racks it from both the winning the group side and the did I just lose internet? Maybe we might be back. Google Sheets is telling me that I'm working offline. I don't know if that's actually true. I think we're still good. So Jordan Spieth is a great group pick and a great championship pick. Well, we're definitely back now. If I lost you, we're definitely back now. So Scotty Scheffler is actually not very good for the group, but very good long-term. John Rahm gets much better. So obviously the guys that show up on both of these are the ones that you want, like the Cam Davises of the world, Jordan Spieth. Who else? Shane Lowry's up there. Jason Day was up there. Sung J M, I think, was pretty good in both. He was decent out of the group. So long-winded. This spreadsheet is available to you. There's a link in the description. It's the same Google Doc as the bracket is in. You can mess around with these. It's not nearly as clean round by round by round as the previous leverage numbers that we ran for March Madness, but I think it really points out where the opportunities are and really good there. Okay, so that's one thing. Let's continue down here. Optimal build, says Devin, has been sharp since the first year DK ran contest for WGC. This year I see more don't have to build 6 of the Elite 8, but just the final 4 opinions than years prior. Thoughts on that? That seems wrong to me. I don't have the numbers handy, but I mean, we've run the numbers on this countless times. It's 6. You need, I mean, okay, here's the other, I guess maybe the only other argument is the likelihood of you getting, of you hitting the nuts is microscopic, right? You know, you hitting the optimal on a regular week of stroke play, microscopic. It's like this divided by 1,000, right? Like it would be so hard to get the absolute perfect configuration. So I guess the argument would be, don't worry if you give up 0.00001% of optimal builds, because you're not going to get there anyway. I guess that's the only argument, but I'm still going with the idea of you got to have 6 clean paths to the final 4, or 6 clean paths to the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8. Holy crap, my brain is fried. And 4 clean paths to the final 4. You got to do it. You got to do it. You got to do it. Who has the best chance to win, Minwoo or Sahith? I believe it is Sahith. In fact, I've actually bet him, which I'm not super proud of. It just kind of happened. And I love the volatility, right? All over the place. He might gain 7 strokes on approach. He might gain 5 strokes putting. He might lose it as well. Don't care. Fire away. This is really, for a volatile guy like Sahith, match play is just splendid for him. Here's the other thing that we have to get to, and I will get to this. So it says, Kyle says, could you do a quick match play optimizer rundown? Yeah. So this is probably my bad. Like, I brought back the match play optimizer. I wrote all the rules in. I didn't really give you any resources of how to use it. So here it is. So this is on, if you go to rickrungood.com, there's 2 ways to get to it. There's the match play optimizer up here on the left-hand side. It's also on the menu bar. So the idea, this is kind of a once a year thing. The idea is that this optimizer allows us to build only optimal lineups. So for example, when you first fire this up, you're going to see something like this. You're going to see it's going to have the projections, the values, and I've already loaded in the max projected ownership. There is a DraftKings terms of service that says you have to make some adjustment. So you can either upload your own data. You can use these columns and put the list of player names, and you can do projected points, and you can do ownership, and you can add all of your own stuff in here. You can do that. Or if you want to use my projections, you just have to change them. So like this originally said, I think it said 91.2 and 88.5. And I just changed it to 8. Like that counts as making a change, right? Like I didn't tell you that, but that counts as making a change. So now we're good. Now we don't have to do anything else. And then what you can do is go to settings and you can decide, okay, well, I only want to build, lineups that are 49,500 and below, or I want 10% of ownership, or I want my max ownership to be 40% on any one golfer, or my minimum to be whatever. I want to, I can put all my stuff in here, but here's the real key is the player groups. So I've already loaded these in for you, right? So there are 12 rules that accomplish the optimal builds. At most one of any group and adjacent groups. So only one of group 1, group 16, group 9, group 8, et cetera, so that you can't get 2 guys in the same group and you can't get 2 guys out of adjacent groups. Then there are 4 more rules that say at most 5 from any 3 quadrants. And somebody sent me a message and said, hey, Rick, can I just make sure it's 3 on this side and 3 on this side and make the rules easier to write? And I'll say, well, yes, you could do that, but you will unnecessarily limit yourself because that would not allow you to get 4 and 2 with 6 clean pads to the Elite 8, 4 clean pads to the Final 4. So you'd limit yourself. The other thing is you don't have to worry about writing the rules because I already wrote them for you. When you load this up, they're in here. So you go through, you save it, or you do whatever you want. I'm actually not going to add another rule. And then you just say, how many lineups do you want to generate? Like, let's just generate 25 lineups. And it's going to go through all your rules, all your projections, all your fun stuff. And it is going to start generating. And there we go. We've got 25 lineups. And I can see the statistics. And these are all built optimally, every single one of them, right? And I've got how many lineups, how many points, all that fun stuff. I can run multiple versions of this. I can rename this, first run or whatever, and have that saved for me here. I can download these and upload them straight to DraftKings, and they are just going to build you all the lineups, right? If I click through it, oh, look, I love this, right? Click on Brian Harmon's name, see where he's at. Click on Seamus Power's name, see where he's at. It's very, very simple. It's very, very powerful, especially because we've already written the tools for you. So hopefully that works. Okay. Thoughts on picking Jason Day strictly based on his name rhyming with match play. Love it. Everyone smash the like button, subscribe to Rick's channel, newsletter, and webpage. Wow. Appreciate you, Brent. It says, well, I don't want to read that, but it's very flattering. It says, you're the best. So I appreciate. Yeah. Thank you, Brent. Appreciate you. Thank you. Do you know if you can create multiple different brackets for different leagues in the bracket challenge? I do not know that. That's a PGA Tour fantasy website question. Rick, you're the man. Thanks for all the content you put out. Is Minwoo playing like he's trying to get his way into the Masters? I like him either way, but thinking that a motivation for a deep run could help him. So yeah, listen, Minwoo's great. And I don't know what Minwoo has to do. Actually, I could figure it out to get into the Masters this week. I'd have to go look it up. But Minwoo, if you've been following along, we've been tracking Minwoo for a long time. Minwoo's playing just stellar golf, and he has been going back to this stuff in the fall on the European Tour. And he is, I don't think stopping anytime soon. He has a really good skill set. He's a very swaggy guy, which I think helps him in match play. I think Minwoo's going to have a good week. I actually don't like that Minwoo and Sahith are in the same group because I like both of those guys a lot. I assume one of them is going to make it out of this group. I've hitched my wagon a bit more to Sahith just in case we saw ceiling Minwoo and a new $2.5 million, I don't know, has taken a little attention away. I think they're both great. I've opted for Sahith. Amazing point you made today on the first cut Megapod on Cantlay. I'm holding a 20-1 ticket and have cold feet for his ability to go all the way, but still love him getting out of the group. Okay, so here's the argument that I made, and this is very narrative based, and you guys know I don't like to do that. But Patrick Cantlay has an unbelievable path out of Group 4. I think he's by far the favorite to get out of Group 4 and maybe make a deep run. But for those of you who don't know Patrick Cantlay very well or haven't heard this, so he had that bad back injury a couple of years ago. And he is an unbelievably regimented routine guy. He does the same thing every single day. And unfortunately that him getting ready to play is a long process. He does a lot of I think stretching and movements and stuff to get everything working together. I'm a little worried about that in a week where the winner is eventually going to play 7 rounds in 5 days. When you are thrown so far off your schedule, what does that do to you? And you look at some of his match play history, and outside of, Ryder Cup and President's Cup, which is, that's kind of a different story. You have more time off. Like, he hasn't made it out of his group in his last 4. So you do worry about that a little bit. So I still believe he's the favorite to get out of his group. I think he will, but I start losing confidence more and more as we go along, but because otherwise he's a stallion and he should be absolutely crushing. My one and done skips Dell and using Corrales. Okay, I already answered that. Just play Wyndham Clark. Entering the 18 max contest, never used the Rick Run Good generator before. Do you star players you want to include more often or set percentages? Yeah, so what I would do is, let me try to back out here a little bit, is I would be adjusting like the maximum exposure, right? So for guys that I like more, maybe I want 50% of Patrick Cantlay. Maybe I want, 20% of John Rahm. I'm not as high on Xander. Maybe I only want 10% of him. And I think, and you have to forgive me here because I have not done this in a while. If I put this in here, does it do it for everybody? Maybe just on the other side. So yeah, so I would go through and I would add, little max exposures and increase it for the guys that I like. This is what the lineup optimizer used to look like, and it's gone through a lot of iterations. Then we brought out the custom model to be a bit more. So just trying to get it all figured out. Thoughts on Kuchar this week? I'm out. He's been fine in this format. I think there's a lot of firepower. I don't think he's in a great group. He's got Siwoo, Chris Kirk, Victor Hovland. It's a gauntlet. I don't love that for anybody. So I'm probably out on Kuchar. Who's the most likely to pull a Paul Casey and withdraw every day? I guess it would be Matt Fitzpatrick or Hideki. Those are the guys that we know have always just kind of had like lingering injuries. Maybe it's, I don't want to throw anything at Zalatoris unbeknownst, but like, I don't know, just guys that I guess have a little bit of an injury history. It's a funny question. Who is this year's Victor Perez, and is it Victor Perez? I think Group 9 is really difficult. In fact, Group 9 is statistically the most difficult for Colin Morikawa. Adam Svensson's a star. I shouldn't say that. Adam Svensson is a great ball striker who is playing well again. Jason Day is the 4th best golfer in this field over the last 36 rounds, and Colin Morikawa is Colin Morikawa. So I think there's a couple of candidates. It's either Sahith or Minwoo. I think Kurt Kitayama could make a deep run. I think Ryan Fox could make a deep run. Those are my likely candidates. Kitayama, I think, could get out of 10. And if Kitayama runs into like a Harris English or an Andrew Putnam, he gets a little help out of 7. There's a pretty clean path for Kitayama to get to the Elite 8. And then maybe as long as it's not Rahm and Cam Young, like you might have like I could see Kitayama going pretty deep here. So this says, is anyone bad chalk this week? So we kind of looked at that leverage stuff, and I suppose the worst options would be like Victor Perez, Taylor Montgomery, Max Homa, unfortunately, Terrell Hatton, unfortunately, would be a little bit of bad chalk. For season long at Corrales, are you dumping good players to fill out your lineup? So if you're in a league that I run or that I'm in, that's a standard league, this is a bye week. I did that before the season started. I couldn't remove it from the schedule. So what I did is I just removed all the matchups. So I'm hoping you don't play anybody this week, Oliver. The goal was to not have Corrales be the event because I didn't want you to have to drop half your roster to get 6 guys playing in Punta Cana, and Fantrax doesn't do the match play. So I'm hoping you don't have a matchup. Is ownership at all this important this week, given the number of lineups that will likely not be built optimally anyway? Yeah, I think it is. I mean, we're seeing an increased number of lineups being built optimally each year. And also, once you do have lineups that are built optimally, then the ownership comes back into play in a big way. So I'm going to guess that between 15 and 25% of lineups are not going to be built optimally. So that still means that 85 to 75% of lineups are going to be built optimally, and then your ownership is coming in. Here's a question about Corey Connors, and I think we should give Corey Connors a little bit of a deep dive here. So, he's got the good match play record, which I think is like one of the few things that you could really say about him. Let's see if his game's been coming back around as of late. Not particularly, right? I mean, this is tough to see. He's hitting it okay. Right? I want to see this. I want to see deep green in ball striking, gaining 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's lost in 2 of his last 3. He had a good start at Bay Hill. I'll give him that for sure. Phoenix was a little bit disappointing when you don't gain a stroke on approach. It's just been a little bit all over the place, and he still doesn't putt well, and he still doesn't hit it well from around the green. There's a couple paths to get there in match play, and unfortunately, Corey Connors never had one, which was the putter, and he's kind of struggling on the other side of things now. So probably out on Connors for me. Who do you like more this week, Day or Hatton? I think in just a total vacuum, it's probably Hatton. And then looking at kind of the ownership, I think Day is probably the better one. How is ownership shaking up for one and done? By far, the most popular pick is going to be Terrell Hatton, and then probably like Cam Young, a little bit of Patrick Cantlay. I think if you're looking for a contrarian selection, both Sungjae Im and Tommy Fleetwood, I think are really good. I don't like, unfortunately, they're in the same group. They're coming out of that group 16. It's Sungjae's group, but could you see Sungjae, who loves playing a ton of golf, who's playing well right now, who putts well, who's well-rounded, apply a lot of pressure here? I could see that. Tommy Fleetwood has the same level of well-roundedness, and we've seen, like maybe closing out stroke play events isn't for him, but maybe match play is. So I like both of those guys as a contrarian option out of Group 16. I wish they weren't facing each other, and they have a little bit of a buzzsaw if they do get Scotty Scheffler in round number 2. But I think those are both pretty viable options for one and done. Off topic, how's your NCAA bracket? Thanks for the Creighton, Tennessee, Michigan State advice. No leverage on Purdue or Arizona. Beautiful. Okay, so I'll pull up the bracket for you guys. I plan on being here for a while, right? I mean, I'm way behind on questions already, but I love this event, and you guys deserve it. We'll be here as long as we need to. So I'll pull up my bracket for you. Let me make sure I'm logged in, which I'm not. So I don't really believe in jinxes, but listen, this bracket is going really well for us. And I love the people. I mean, it lost like the first 3 games, and people are like, are you stupid? What's wrong with you? What's my login for this? Let's try this one. Stand by. I've got LastPass, and it's like being a total. Oh, there we go. I think I got it now. Is this it? Yeah, this is it. Okay. So here's the bracket. And it is currently in the 70th percentile, which if you told me right now, hey, Rick, would you just take this in the 70th percentile? I'd probably take it. We still have 6 of our 8 Elite 8 teams in this. Alabama, Creighton, Houston, Tennessee, UConn, and Gonzaga are all our Elite 8 teams. We still have all 4 of our Final 4 teams in. So we do have a ton of leverage over the next couple of rounds for people who had Arizona, like that negative leverage for Arizona, for Purdue, for Virginia has not even yet been realized, right? So this bracket has, the way it is shaped up, it has bent to our will. We have not been picked off on a major upset yet. Yeah, we had Iowa State going deep, but like not that big of a deal considering everything else that we have going on here. So this is very, very good for us. Now, there's a lot of bad outcomes. Alabama winning it all, still a horrible outcome. Texas winning it all, horrible outcome. Like there are some really, really bad outcomes for us that will continue to drop us. But I love the way this is shaping up. We need Creighton to continue on a run. We need Alabama to get bounced eventually. We need Houston to win it all. I'm terrified of like Texas. We need Texas out now. Like ASAP, we need Texas out because there was a lot of leverage on them too. Remember, Houston and Texas were like the top 2 leverage teams coming out of the same region. So this is a very good situation for us, but that does not mean that we are guaranteed any level of success because it is wide open still. Are you trusting Zalatoris with the back injuries? Just in general, I think any guy that's had kind of like a lingering issue, I'm a little bit worried about. I also do like Ryan Fox out of this group. Like Ryan Fox is a very talented golfer who hits it far. He's going to be able to apply a lot of pressure. Look at his recent results. He finished T4 at Bay Hill, T27 at the Players. He's been great on the European tour. He can roll the rock. He's a tough out as well. So it's not so much that I think Zalatoris isn't great. I actually think there's a lot of value in playing Ryan Fox here. Hey, Rick, I finished the top top 1,000 in the DK Millionaire lineup for the players. It was a fun sweat, and I wanted to say thanks. Who is a dark horse to make a run if they make it out of their group? Short list is Sahith, Kurt Kitayama, Ryan Fox, and Adam Svensson, I think. Thanks for the work week in and week out. Mind giving us a couple of round one head-to-head matchups to bet? I bet I would go Hoagie over Aaron Wise, and I would go, oh boy, there was one more. Let me pull them up real quick. There was one more that I saw that I really liked. I think it was, it was Denny over Keegan is the other one that I was looking at. Would love to see you do a crash course. Okay, I did that. Scroll back a little bit. I know I'm way behind on questions. Is Cantlay course history a concern? Kind of, yes. Hey, Rick, what is the approach in one and done? We talked about that. Just like a second tier guy. Is there any chance Wise can be a good play this week with his daily quad bogey only? I laugh, but if you made like 4 birdies and a quad, you'd be doing really, really well in match play. I worry a lot about Aaron Wise. It's not even just these 2 events in which he's lost 18 strokes from tee to green in his last 4 rounds. It's the fact that he's just not gaining anymore. He used to be a stroke per round, a stroke and a half per round. It's not there. It's troublesome. I have no idea where he's at, and I'm out. Do you use the head-to-head matchup tool to help making picks for your bracket or deciding DK plays? So I do for DK. I hadn't really thought about doing it for bracket stuff, but I guess we could. So the head-to-head matchup tool on RickRunGood.com is just pit any 2 golfers against one another and see the likelihood of one beating the other. We could do Sahith versus Minwoo. Sahith versus Minwoo, last 36 rounds, we get a nod to, Minwoo, 65% of the time. How about Fleetwood and Sungjae? That's another one that I'm interested in. This goes towards Sungjae, 63% of the time. Wow, interesting. Yeah, good call. Ricky Fowler needs to go deep here to qualify for the Masters. Do you give him an outside chance? Ricky's been playing great. I don't think, and I never really think that the idea of like this added motivation is a thing. Like if these guys could turn on and off skills based on motivation, they would not wait until the last tournament before they can qualify before the Masters to start playing well. Ricky's just been playing well. So if Ricky plays well this week, don't say it's the added, he knew he was going to play his way into the Masters. No, he's been playing awesome. He's piling up top 20s. The ball striking's back. The putter's back. Ricky's dangerous this week. I understand optimal is the only way to do GPP, but what about cash? I don't know about that. Not in my wheelhouse. I'm not even going to lie to you. Is there a glossary somewhere in your database to define all your abbreviations? No, but something I need to work on. It says to take it a step further, a list of formulas for stats that are computed, the difference between weighted and not. Long story short, weighted takes into account strength of field and a variety of other factors. I need to put this all in writing at some point, but I have not gotten around to it. Brent says, Rick, I have to admit, I missed this match play version of the optimizer. Any chance of putting it back in for the stroke play events? So no, but what you'll see is that the custom model will basically be able to do so I have a new custom model update that's I've not said this yet, probably coming out next week. I don't really want to guarantee that, but I think that's what we're on the path for, where the good part about the lineup optimizer is that it has a lot of custom options and it has a lot of functionality, and the custom model is better use of the database and all this other stuff, but we'll be getting the added bells and whistles. So essentially what's going to happen is the custom model is going to be the best version of all of this because it's going to have the best parts of this and the other best parts of the other one. So working on it. Is Jock Market available in the UK? I do not believe so, but Jock Market is available in a lot of different states. They have props now. They have the stock market DFS. Go get involved. And I have a code. It's Rick. Link in the description. Just exploring something but take You guys have made this season about the live exodus, factoring in the top of the board, cashing. Yes. Okay, so Zach is onto something, and I think that's and I think it's well warranted that when the guys left for live, the middle of the betting board became incredibly soft, and all the guys at the top started winning more frequently. And you're seeing it also here in the match play. These B players, C players, and D players, they don't feel as strong. I don't know if that's a real take or not, but they don't feel as strong. So I do think we are, Zach, going to get more golfers than average of the top seeds out. Now, if six of the 12 or 6 of the 16 top seeds got out, I would still say that's a lot, right? Because we usually get like 5. We've had years where we've gotten 1. The record is 8, which has only happened, I think, twice. But if we're at 5, 6, 7, or 8, I think we're definitely skewing in that direction moving forward. Although I guess maybe not moving forward. Hey, Rick, will we see a tournament predictor run on your site for Punta Cana? That's the goal. I tried to run it this morning. The only problem is there's a data feed that I get the odds from, and it wasn't supporting Punta Cana. So I'll look back into it and see if I can get it up. Also, I'm going to be switching key stats over, the custom model over on Wednesday, all that stuff switching over to Punta Cana, obviously, because match play would have already started, and then I can support that as well. If stacking 2 studs, hey, Greg, if stacking 2 studs, Scotty and Rom, the obvious construction should be to let them fly solo into their quads and double up in your lower quads, giving you 4 chances with lesser players. Interesting. Okay. So I think I get what he's going here with here. So if you go Scotty, Rom, so that's your upper left quadrant, your upper right quadrant. So what you would do then is double up your chances in lower quads. So he would then say, round out the rest of your lineups, for example, with Justin Suh, Seamus Power, Cam Davis, and Denny McCarthy. Am I understanding that right? No, I actually think that you would. No, because this would be fine. Maybe what you're saying is this. Maybe what you're saying is like Justin Suh, Taylor Montgomery, John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler, 1, 2, 3, 4, Cam Davis, Tom Hoagie. Is that what you're saying? Or I guess it could be any of these groups here, just trying to get one of them through. I think I get what you're saying. Maybe I don't. But interesting. I guess you'd be really screwed if your big boys didn't make it. That would be my one concern there, because you're putting a lot of eggs in those big boy baskets, and historically top seeds are tough here. I don't hate it. I appreciate the creativity. I don't know the answer. I appreciate the creativity. Trophy talk. The Hagen Cup for match play is great, but now without retirement of the WGC series, there won't be a nod to golf history anymore. On the line, will you miss these? Up for trivia. These are good trophies. These are really good trophies. The WGC trophies are great. I don't know. I can't get past the fact that they're not going to have this event at least next year. Is there a strategy in taking some of these recent college match play golfers? Sure. They play it more frequently, or at least more recently, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. I've answered a couple of these here. I will update the key stats on Wednesday. Let's do a deep dive on Adam Scott, courtesy of Drew. I wish he was playing a little bit better, right? I think, he's been like solid, but then we've seen a couple of, we saw this, the 7 strokes he lost on approach to the players. I don't know how many of those were water balls, but it's 3 now events in a row that he's lost strokes on approach, which is a little bit concerning. The tee to green game is not nearly as sharp as it was kind of from the US Open to the BMW Championship. Hasn't really gotten geared up in 2023 outside of that Australian Open, which honestly, he was probably the second best player in the field behind Cam Smith. And did Cam Smith win Cam Smith won the PGA Championship, the Fortinet Australian PGA Championship. So, we have not seen, since coming back to America, we've not seen the version of Adam Scott that I was hoping for, unfortunately. I've thought, that says thought, that it is likely that everything else the same, guys that missed the cut the week before have an advantage over guys that made the cut. Have you ever looked at a lot of data on this premise? No. I've not. What's the idea? They're well rested? I don't know. I've not. I guess I could. Last pass is trash. All right. That's it generally works for me, except when I'm in a live chat situation. Go bet Wyndham Clark. Go bet Will and Do. Will and Do. Holy crap. Dylan Wu. Has it been a week? When you have to take all the content for 3 days and put it into 2, your brain starts to backfire on you. I've answered a lot of these, which is fine. What are your thoughts on Sepp Straka? Not much, honestly. Let's do a deep dive on Sepp. Here is Sepp. So it's not great. Played well at the Honda Classic, but that's a place he's played well before, so you almost don't give him credit for that, which I guess is a shame. He's not very good around the green. He's not a very good putter. He's not a very good driver. And outside of his start at the Honda, he has not been very good on approach. He's been okay. Out. Are you able to see who has the best chance to win their first matchup? History gives them a good chance to advance out of group stage. Well, we can just look at the odds, I suppose. Any sports book is going to give you the matchup odds. So, I mean, who do you want me to? I mean, I guess I could pull up I saw it all on, I think I saw it all on Bet 365, or I guess DraftKings Sportsbook has it. Give them a little free ad here. Let's see here. Round 2 balls. Yeah. So, I mean, these are like Matt Fitzpatrick's minus 145 to JJ Spawn. Sahith is a slight favorite over Minwoo Lee. I like that. Xander minus 155. So yeah, we can in theory see who's likely to win. Rory minus 230 versus Scott Stallings. What's John Rahm? Minus 145 to Ricky Fowler. Is that a lot of respect for Ricky or not enough respect for John Rahm? Spieth is minus 165 over Mackey. John Rahm got such a bad draw. Just go bet anybody not named John Rahm to come out of that group. What are the odds on his group? Like you could bet, I guess you wouldn't make that much money, but if you bet just for kicks, $100 on Fowler, $100 on Mitchell, and $100 on Ricky, and one of them won, you would get what? So you'd lose 200. So you'd either get 140, 150, or 200. Or the times that Rahm does win the group, you'd lose 300, which would obviously not be ideal. But it feels like a gauntlet for John Rahm. Feels like an absolute gauntlet. What is your is Jock Market stock market DFS? Yes, and it's awesome, and you should try it out. Deep dive on Ben Griffin. All right. Deep dive on Ben Griffin. So, boy, if I could erase the last 2 rows or even the last 3 rows of this, I think he's kind of an interesting match play guy. Oh, were you kidding about this? Is Jock Market stock market DFS? Do I say that a lot? I don't care. I think he could kind of be a tough out if he plays to this baseline here. He drives it really well. He's not great on approach, but he's generally a small positive. But we saw him lose a bunch at API. We saw him lose a bunch at Valspar. That's concerning. He's very good around the greens, and he's a very good putter. So if you could guarantee me that he gained 1 stroke on approach, I'd be pretty bullish on him. He's in a group that is, I think it's kind of wide open, especially for who's the second best player in group 14? Terrell Hatton is by far and away clearly the best player in group 14. Who's the second best player? Lucas Herbert, who has hemorrhaging strokes and takes hemorrhaging strokes to a whole new level. Look at what he's done recently. Lost 20 strokes at the Players' Championship. Is it Russell Henley, who I feel like we haven't talked about in forever? He's actually probably playing better than, probably deserve to talk about him a little bit more. Or is it Ben Griffin? You can make the case that it's Ben Griffin. So I don't mind that. What is the all leverage lineup? Interesting. Okay. So let's do it for So I think the all leverage line, I don't know. Okay. If I give this lineup out and forget to put it in and it wins somebody $200,000, you have to give me some. Is that a deal? Okay. Let's see if we can get one that adds up here. So I think it is, what I would probably do is like Cam Davis, Jordan Spieth. Oh, we also have to make sure they're on opposite sides of the bracket. Okay. So that's fine so far, right? Spieth is on bottom left and Cam Davis is bottom right. All right. So then my upper left needs to be probably, where's Kitayama? Kitayama can be my upper right. And then it needs to be probably Jason Day from group 9. So that's 33,500. So I got 2 more spots, and I have 500. My brain. 16,500. Okay. So I also need to make sure we're building a lineup that's going to work here. Colin won't work. Xander won't work. Cantlay might work, but then we don't have any money left. Sungjae would work, I believe, 94. So that gives us $7,100, and it needs to be somebody that doesn't blow the. It could be Russell Henley. Does Russell Henley blow this up? We might be okay on Russell Henley. So somebody will have to fact check this, but Cam Davis, Jordan Spieth, Kurt Kitayama, Jason Day, Russell Henley, Sungjae Im, I think is clean. I'd have to go. I'm looking across 5 different screens and trying to figure this out in my head. If that wins all the money, you got to give me some. What are the payouts for each place? I'd have to look it up. It's $3.6 million for first, and it's a lot of money for everybody else. Have you cooled on Cantlay in under 48 hours? Yeah, probably. I think he's going to win his group. I think he's going to be great, but I love Homa in that quadrant. I think Spieth is super dangerous in that quadrant. I think that the longer it goes for Cantlay, the worse it probably goes. Would you rather face Jon Rahm, but he can only drive with a putter, or Jordan Spieth, but he can only putt with a driver? I would rather face Jon Rahm, who can only drive with a putter, because I think that would be, what's he going to hit a putter? 150 yards? Now he'll then make it up on me after that. But I feel like Spieth putting with a driver is not going to be that much different. Like, that dude's a freak. Yeah, I think I go with that one. I think I'm at the end. I'll go back and see if I skipped any, but we've got a couple minutes to go. Now's the time to ask anything you want. But let me go back and see if I missed any that were popping up in here. There was a couple questions about PrizePicks, which I didn't see if, okay, last I saw they hadn't posted them. Oh, man. So they went with holes 1. But this is not holes 1. Number of holes in a match play or conceded by the opponent. That feels like a lot, doesn't it? So, like, to say Xander's going to win 5 holes, that feels like a ton, right? So Rory 5.5. So he'd have to win 6 holes. If he won 6 holes, I guess he could lose 4. But that also feel like, how many? I'm gonna have to look this up now. All right, 2022 match play. Let's just get a feel for this. Let's just get a feel for, like, the top guys and how many holes they were winning. How do I get back to? Oh boy. Stand by. It's crazy. It's crazy. They're making me turn off my ad blocker. What a world. Okay. So is this last year? This is last year. Let's go to round 1. Let's go to, this doesn't even tell you who won the hole. Okay. So let's go to, oh God, Justin Thomas. I don't know. So JT's not here. Where's Rory? Let's do Jordan Spieth. He's volatile. Okay, so Jordan Spieth won 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess he won 6 holes, and that was only 2 up. What was it? Give me a blowout. 3 and 2, 8 and 6. So McNeely won 1 hole. I mean, these still feel high to me, right? Here's a 1-up match. A 1-up match. So Victor won 1, 2, 3. He won 5 holes. Maybe it's not that bad. But those felt high to me. It felt really high. I guess they're not. All right. Sorry. I went down that rabbit hole and it didn't really come out with anything of significant note. So I would probably pile up on maybe a couple of the star or like the volatile, like Cam Young. So guys like Cam Young, guys like Tony Finau, guys like Jordan Spieth, guys like Scotty Scheffler, and there was somebody else that I was thinking about. Sahith. These are big time birdie makers. I would lean overs on those guys. And then the more solid ones like Corey Connors or Shane Lowry or Max Homa or Cantlay, I'd lean unders on. Jason Day, same thing, because they can kind of grind you different ways. I have a promo code. It's Rick. There's a link in the description. Get you $100 deposit bonus. Okay. I think we're running out of questions here. So we'll do these two. Siwoo, and we'll do Mav McNeely. So Siwoo is dangerous because super volatile, can get hot with the putter, can get hot on approach. Very, very dangerous in this format. Played well at the President's Cup. I think he was the leading point scorer for the international squad. Just very, very dangerous in this format. Mav McNeely, his only danger is via the putter. But this is the best format for that to be dangerous in. I don't like that he loses, 3 strokes on approach every single week. I think he could probably steal a match or two, but I don't know if he gets out of his group how long he could last that, because his path to the top is very, very narrow. Okay. I think we're going to put a pin in it there. Last chance to get into the bracket challenge, right? We've got 17. Wow. Since we've come on air, we've added like another 100 people to the bracket challenge. I'm giving away prizes. There's a link in the description. The promo code is, or the password is Rick. The match play optimizer on RickRunGood.com. It's available. I ran a little tutorial earlier in the live chat. Go give it. Sorry. The password's Tiger. The password is Tiger to get into the bracket. Go sign up for RickRunGood.com. Use the lineup optimizer for the match play. I've also got some more upgrades coming to the site very, very soon. It's a giant database for golf, DFS, and betting and tools and visuals, and I love it. You'll love it too. Otherwise, compact week with a lot of stuff thrown at you. I know it's crazy, but best of luck for us here in the match play. Best of luck for us in March Madness. I'm losing my voice. I've spoken a lot today. Appreciate y'all. Have a great day.